This lecture is in continuation of the lecture of additional topics industrial furnaces. Why I selected this lecture is simply to illustrate the various concepts which I have delivered in an earlier lecture on industrial furnace. Now, here I will be illustrating those concepts by solving few examples. Here is the example number 1. Now, in this particular example, what I have done, let us consider a fuel fired furnace. Consider a fuel fired furnace which is maintained at the temperature 1327 degrees Celsius. Now, this furnace is fuel fired, furnace is a fuel fired having 70% carbon. This is solid fuel fired or coal fired furnace. It is given it has 70% carbon. Here the calorific value of this fuel, that is net calorific value NCV, that is net calorific value of this fuel is given 27,900 kilojoule per kg. Then of course, for combustion air is also passed along with the fuel, so that combustion occurs inside the furnace, and the products of combustion, that is POC, products of combustion, they consist of nitrogen, oxygen, H2O and CO2. Now, their percent is given, volume percent, the composition is given, say nitrogen is 76%, oxygen is 7%, H2O is 5% and CO2 is 12%. Well, they are all in percent. Now, what we have to find out? We have to find out for this particular situation what is the fuel consumption. What is the fuel consumption? Also, it is given that the gross available heat requirement of the furnace, gross available heat requirement of this furnace is 1.5 into 10 to the power 3 kilowatt. That is what is given to us. Now, under this condition, we are required to find out what is the fuel consumption. Now, here it is also given, or if it is not given, as I have said in my earlier lecture, that when temperature of products of combustion is not given, then you can assume that the products of combustion will discharge at least at the temperature of the furnace. It cannot be discharged below the temperature, of course, not above also, but we can assume safely that it discharges, let us say in this particular problem, at the temperature 1327 degrees Celsius. This is the temperature of POC. In this particular problem, air is supplied as at 25 degrees Celsius. Of course, fuel is also supplied at 25 degrees Celsius. So, we are required to find out the fuel consumption. So, let us proceed now. So, we will select now first of all the basis. say basis of calculation, as I said in all thermodynamic calculation, we will consider say let us say it is the basis is at 298 Kelvin, that is at this temperature the heat content values should be known to us. Now, first of all, in order to calculate the fuel consumption, we have to know what is the amount of heat that is carried away by POC. If we know that amount of heat which is carried away by POC, and if we know the calorific value, then we can calculate gross available heat per kg of the fuel. We are already given with the gross available heat requirement. If we divide both of with the gross available heat per kg of the fuel, then we get the fuel consumption. So, just like that. So, first of all we have to calculate the amount of POC. First of all, we have to calculate amount of POC, and since this I have calculated on several occasions. So, you can do the carbon balance, you can assume let us say y kg mole of POC, and you can do the carbon balance. You cannot do anything else except carbon balance, because the coal is having 70% carbon and nothing else is given. So, in this particular problem the approach would be to go from the POC side and then to calculate. So, here first we will calculate amount of POC, and this can be obtained by carbon balance. This can be obtained by carbon balance. So, if you do the carbon balance, straight away I will write down the amount of POC for this particular problem, that will be equal to 0.486 kg mole per kg of carbon. Now, since we know now amount of POC, then we calculate the heat to POC. Now, we are in a position to calculate heat to POC. Now, in order to calculate heat to POC, you have to calculate the heat content of the various components of the POC, that is nitrogen, oxygen, H2O and CO2. Now, remember here net calorific value of the fuel is given. So, by definition, in the calculation of net calorific value, the state of the product of combustion is chosen as vapor, because the H2O is in the vapor state. So, while calculating the heat carried by products of combustion, you should also select the reference state gaseous, and there H2O is in the vapor state. So, now heat to POC, first of all I give you the values of the heat content. Say the heat content of various components are say H 1600 minus H 298 for CO2, for O2, for H2O vapor, mind you these are at 298 Kelvin, and of nitrogen. For CO2 these values is 66,350, for O2 43,710, for H2O vapor 54,880, and for nitrogen 41,620, and these values are given in kilojoule per kg mole. So, now heat to POC is straightforward for me to calculate. I will write down first of all CO2, then H2O vapor, then oxygen, and then nitrogen. Now, I can calculate here kg moles, because I know the amount of POC. So, CO2 will be 0.05832, H2O vapor 0.0243, O2 is 0.034, and nitrogen is 0.3694. So, I can calculate now heat carried by each component of the flue gas or products of combustion in kilojoule. So, for CO2 it simply is multiplied by CO2 value, heat content CO2 per kg mole with the kg mole. So, this will be 3869, I have rounded off 1334, 1486 and 15,374. So, if you sum total it, the heat to POC will be 22,063 kilojoule. Now, since we know heat to POC, now we can calculate the gross available heat per kg of the fuel. GAH, gross available heat per kg of fuel, as I have done in a previous problem, that is equal to 27,900 is the caloric value of fuel minus 22,063 heat to POC. So, that value is 5,837. This is kilojoule. Now, you see that much amount of heat is available. Now, if you just do a little simple calculation, then you will note that out of the calorific value of the fuel, that is 27,900, the heat carried by POC. So, if I just calculate in percent, heat carried by POC, that is equal to 22,063 upon 27,900 into 100. A simple calculation will give you approximately 79% of the caloric value of the fuel is carried away by the flue gases. That means, in this particular problem, the 21% of the caloric value of the fuel is utilized by the say useful part of the function, which is the heating here. 79% is carried away by the flue gases. So, higher is the temperature, more percentage of the caloric value will be available to you in the products of combustion. Of course, lower is the temperature, lower amount will be available. Now, this particular thing will constitute a different dimension of the capturing of the energy. You are seeing that a large portion of the energy is still available. 79% of the calorific value of the fuel is still available to you, depends on you what you do with that available heat in the products of combustion. Now, before this, we can calculate now fuel consumption. We can now calculate fuel consumption, which is say gross available heat required per unit of time divided by gross available heat per kg of the fuel. It is gross available heat required per unit time divided by gross available heat per kg of fuel. Here of course, per unit of time. So, we know now say 1.5 into 10 to the power 3 is what? It is joule per second. So, into 3600 divided by gross available heat per kg of the fuel, we have calculated 5837. So, you note that the fuel consumption is 925 kilogram per hour. So, this is the fuel consumption when the furnace is operated by 70% carbon of the fuel and the POC or the heat to POC is at 1327 degrees Celsius. Now, the question before us, can we cut down this fuel requirement? The answer is yes. In the same process we can do that. How will we do that? If we analyze this problem, you note that the heat carried by POC is of considerable amount, that is of the order of 79%. What you can do with that heat? You can let it go to the waste, because it is a joule, that 79% of the caloric value is in fact the fuel. Fuel is a calorific value. So, that means it is going to waste. So, the first thing that should come into your mind after this analysis, you should think of the ways how can we use the sensible heat of products of combustion in order to cut down the fuel requirement. Now, by cutting down the fuel requirement, you are doing two functions simultaneously. One, you are cutting down the fuel requirement, as well as you are reducing the carbon emission to the environment. This is what I am going to illustrate by the same problem I am continuing and putting as the part B. What I am telling, let us say when combustion air is preheated, when combustion air is preheated, now important is with heat recovered from flue gases. There is no point if you preheat the air by combusting extra amount of fuel, then you have not done a very intelligent job. The intelligent job you have done is that you are preheating the air by recovering the heat which is going with the POC. That is the important thing, my dear friends. So, it is preheated with heat recovered from flue gases. Flue gases are products of combustion, one and the same thing, in a heat exchanger, which is having 50% relative efficiency. This concept I already introduced to you in my earlier lecture on industrial furnace. So, this is what an intelligent way you are capturing the heat and trying to reuse it. So, with that you are reducing the fuel requirement, bound to reduce, because amount of heat you are being supplying now, fuel consumption will be reduced. So, fuel saving, contributing to the energy saving and also contributing to the environment cleanliness, because then you will be discharging less carbon into the atmosphere. That is what I am going to illustrate now. So, let me represent now this particular problem. Say what I have done, the same thing, this is my furnace as usual operating at 1327 degrees Celsius, coal 70% carbon, NCV 27,900 kilojoule per kg. Now, this is a flue gas or products of combustion, one and the same thing. The composition is same as it was earlier. So, there is no need to write here. The temperature discharge is at again 1327 degrees Celsius. Now, what I do? I take now an heat exchanger. So, I put a heat exchanger. This is now heat exchanger. Now, the objective of heat exchanger is that to extract the heat of POC and transfer it to the incoming air. So, here somewhere I put my air which I require for combustion. In A part it was not preheated, now the same air I am preheating it. So, air, and here is the outlet for air and here is the flue gas. Of course, this temperature you have to find out from heat balance, which presently it is not our objective. So, what we are doing now, we are taking air from here and we are supplying this air into this furnace. So, here we have a preheated air, Now, in the preheated air, so that is what now our loop is. Now, what we have done in the furnace, we have installed a heat exchanger, it extracts the heat and heat the combustion air. So, now we have to calculate back the fuel consumption. Of course, we have installed the heat exchanger, we have invested certain amount of money, we want to see what profit it brings, how much it can save. So, again we have to calculate the so called heat to POC, then heat recovered, and again we have to do the heat balance. So, let us do that. Now, first of all, since we are preheating the air, so we have to find out amount of air. So, the first thing is that you have to find amount of air, because you are preheating the air, only heat is being put into the furnace through preheated air and nothing else. So, find amount of air, find amount of air. Now, how can you find out amount of air? In several occasions I have done, you will do the nitrogen balance, you will perform the nitrogen balance. So, if you perform the nitrogen balance, the nitrogen from air that is equal to 0.3694 kg mole, because all nitrogen of air it goes into the products of combustion, provided the coal does not contain any amount of nitrogen, because there is no composition is given over here. So, you can do nothing from the coal side, all that you can do from the products of combustion side. Now, then we can then find out oxygen from air, say 21%. So, that will be 0.0982 kg mole. Now, mind you, this air which you have calculated 0.092, it consists of theoretical oxygen as well as excess oxygen, as well as both it consists of, just for your information. So, we know now the amount of air. So, next thing we can calculate now the relative efficiency. We can calculate, say, relative efficiency, as already you know, that is equal to, say, sensible heat in preheated air, sensible heat in preheated air upon sensible heat in air, sensible heat in air at hot flue gas temperature. This already I have illustrated how to calculate this. Now, here relative efficiency is given. So, what we can calculate? Relative efficiency is given, we can calculate sensible heat in air at hot flue gas temperature. Hot flue gas temperature is 1327 degrees Celsius, the heat content values are given. So, you can calculate both things. So, relative efficiency let us take is 50, of course, it is into by 100. So, when I do percent, that 50 by 100, that is equal to, let us say preheated air is delta H1. So, this will be equal to 0.3694 into 41620 plus 0.0982 into 43710, that is what we will calculate. So, this calculation comes delta H1, that is equal to 9833 kilojoule. That means, that much amount of kilojoule you are able to recover from the heat which was taken away by products of combustion by installing a heat exchanger. So, now the gross available heat would be, calorific value of the fuel plus sensible heat of air minus heat to POC, or let us put delta H1, heat to POC. So, everything is known. Now, this value will be equal to 15,670 kilojoule. Now, I can calculate fuel consumption. Heat requirement is the same, 1.5 into 10 to the power 3 kilowatt. I illustrated through the earlier formula. So, this fuel consumption now will be coming 344 kilogram per hour. What do you think now, my dear friends? By installing a preheater, now you are consuming for the same heat requirement 344 kg per hour. So, what will be the fuel saving? Fuel saving by installing a preheater or exchanger, that will be equal to 580 kilogram per hour. Now, extending this thing further, let us say if now furnace operates, if furnace operates, let us say for 20 hours per day, 20 hours per day, then saving per day, that will be equal to 11,140. So, this will be the kg. Now, the carbon saving, this is the fuel. Now, carbon saving would be, carbon saving will be 70% of this, 8127 kilogram per day you are saving carbon. Now, this is equivalent to reduction in CO2, that will be equal to 29,800 kg. How it is? C plus O2 CO2, same you convert to kg mole, multiply by 44. So, you are reducing that much amount of carbon dioxide. Now, here comes the concept of motivation. The motivation is you can earn these carbon, that is so called carbon offset or carbon credit, and that is available to you. So, now, whereas to define a carbon offset is a financial instrument which is aimed at a reduction in greenhouse gas emissions. Typically, it has come from the concept of Kyoto Protocol and so on to encourage the high temperature users based on the fossil fuel, that well you earn carbon credit or you carbon offset. Now, the how can we earn? Carbon offsets are measured in terms of metric tons of CO2 equivalent. That means, how much amount of CO2 you are saving, that is your carbon offset. So, for this say one carbon offset that is equal to reduction in 1000 kg of CO2 or its equivalent. Equivalent means suppose you are reducing other NOx or water, then it is 1000 kg CO2. So, in this case carbon offset or carbon or same thing, you can call carbon offset or carbon credit or same thing, that will be approximately 30 carbon credit you are storing per day. So, you can imagine now per month or per year and so on. So, this is what the illustration of this. Now, as a further if you think, this is one way of reduction of the fuel. Now, suppose if you do not have a heat exchanger, but now coal, say part C, there is no heat exchanger now, coal is burned with a mixture of cold air, which is at 25 degrees Celsius, and oxygen. No heat exchanger, that is the condition. Now, so excess of oxygen, the condition is excess of oxygen, that is in air plus pure O2 that you will be supplying now over theoretical for combustion will be kept same, as with preheater. That means, whatever amount of heat that you added through the preheater, that will not be added now, but then that you have to compensate it some way by adding oxygen. Now, what you have to calculate? Now, calculate amount of oxygen, calculate amount of oxygen in kg per hour to obtain same fuel consumption as in part B. So, now what is required to be done, that is you have to obtain now the same fuel consumption, but without preheater as you got in part B. Now, this objective can be attained because excess of oxygen you have to keep the same. How can you attain this particular objective? You have noted that a very large percentage of heat is carried away by nitrogen. So, if I reduce the amount of nitrogen, then I can do my job. So, let us solve this particular problem. So, now say we note that preheater it brings 9833 kilojoule of heat. When preheater is not used, then nitrogen of the flue gas must be reduced corresponding to the amount of 9833 kilojoule, then my job is over. So, let us consider let x kg mole O2, let x kg mole O2 is now required, then 3.76 x will be the moles of N2. So, that means 3.76 x into 41620, that will be equal to 9833. So, the amount of x that I can calculate 0.0628 kg mole. That much amount of oxygen, if I add, then I will be removing nitrogen, and hence the less amount of heat will be carried away by nitrogen. Now, since I equivalent to 9833, so whatever amount of heat which preheater was bringing, now I have cut down that heat by reducing the amount of nitrogen, that is the only trick. So, now oxygen I can calculate, the oxygen will come 691 kilogram per hour, because I know the fuel consumption already given to you. So, from that you can get the amount of oxygen, that is 691 kg per hour. So, what my objective of illustration of this particular problem is that there are several ways in which one can cut down the fuel requirement and hence the concept of carbon credit. Now, I will give you another problem, so you can think and you can do that. Now, another problem is like this, the problem number 2. Let us consider a batch reverberatory furnace, a batch reverberatory furnace which is melting, now mind you, which is melting 305 tons of copper and heating it to 1327 degrees Celsius. Now, it is estimated that about 1/2 of that required for heating and melting, is lost. That means, of the heat which is required for melting and heating, half of that is being lost. Fuel oil is used, whose composition 85% carbon, 12% hydrogen and 3% oxygen. Its NCV that is equal to 9446 kilocalorie per kg burnt with 120% theoretical dry air. So, flue gases enter into a waste heat boiler. So, here instead of a heat exchanger, what we have done? We have installed a waste heat boiler. Now, waste heat boiler is a typical appliance for heat recovery and converting water into steam. That is very important heat recovery device, where in the heat boiler it is said that heat loss is estimated to be 15% of the sensible heat of entering flue gases. That is, only 85% of the heat is recovered, 15% is lost to the surrounding. Stack gases, that means the gases from the boiler, it leave at 320 degrees Celsius. Now, you are required to calculate average fuel consumption, air supplied, heat recovered in boiler. If you wish, you can also express that heat recovered in terms of calorific value or whichever way you feel like to do it. So, I will just give you the hint to solve this particular problem. I will omit few steps so that you can fill in the blanks and you can solve the problem. Now, first of all, I will illustrate, I will say just draw a line diagram. So, what this problem tells is that we have say 305 tons of copper is melted and its temperature is raised to 1327 degrees Celsius. Now, this is an oil fired furnace, that is the fuel oil, and its composition, you have carbon, you have hydrogen, you have oxygen. Carbon is 85%, hydrogen is 12% and oxygen is 3%. It is burnt with plus 120% theoretical air. Okay. Now, its NCV is also given, that is 9446, it is given in kilocalorie per kg. Now, the POC which is being discharged from here, it is taken to a waste heat boiler. Somewhere here we have a waste heat boiler, and from the waste heat boiler the gases are discharged at a particular temperature. Now, here say heat loss is estimated to be 15% from the waste heat boiler. Heat loss to the surrounding, it is given, say heat loss from the furnace part, say heat loss to surrounding, that is equal to 50% that required for heating and melting, heating plus melting, that is all given to us. So, now we have to calculate the fuel consumption. Now, as such, first of all we have to calculate the material balance and then we have to do the heat balance. So, here now let me give you some values that you will be requiring. Say it is given, say for example, the heat content, that is H 1600 minus H 298. For copper it is given 11,980 kilocalorie per kg mole, that is given to you. Now, say H 1600 minus H 298, this is for CO2, for H2O, for O2 and for nitrogen, that is given 15,850, 13,110 and 10,442, 9943. This is given in kilocalorie per kg mole. Now, the flue gases after the waste heat boiler, they are being discharging at 320 degrees Celsius. So, these values are given, say H say 320 plus 273, that is 593 minus H 298. These values are given again for CO2, that is equal to 2965. For H2O, this value is 2409. For say O2, this value is given 2121, and for nitrogen this value is 2043. Again all their units in kilocalorie per kg mole. This value you will be needing while doing the other parts of the problem. So, you can first of all you can calculate say heat content in copper, because you have to find out the losses. So, heat content in copper, all the values are given, you can convert kg to kg mole and so on. So, heat content in copper, that will be equal to 9515 kilocalorie per hour. Now, again they can find out the flue gases, amount of flue gases, take 1 kg of the fuel, composition is given. So, we can find out now the flue gases or products of combustion. So, we have CO2, we have H2O, you have O2 and we have nitrogen. So, you can calculate their respective amount, the kilocalorie per kg mole at the respective temperature of the discharge. The products of combustion are discharging at 1327 degrees Celsius. So, you can calculate all, and the heat carried by POC should come of the order of 6047.5 degrees Celsius. So, I know now, so I can calculate now the fuel consumption. I can calculate now the fuel consumption, that is the heat required per unit of time. You know the heat you will require for melting and heating of the copper, that 9.515 into 10 to the power 6 and plus half is being lost. So, plus 4.75 into 10 to the power 6. This is the heat required for melting and rising the temperature to 1327 or 1600 degrees Kelvin, and then half of it is being lost. So, that much amount of heat is required per unit of time. Available heat is only 9446 minus heat to POC 6048. So, fuel consumption is coming 4.2 tons per hour, that is equal to 4.2 tons per hour. That is what the answer for part A. We can now easily find out the air consumption. Air consumption, of course, you have to do the nitrogen balance, and then you know the fuel consumption and so on. So, air consumption per hour we have to find out per hour. So, that will come 848 meter cube per minute. I hope you can calculate, the tonnage is given, air amount is given. So, you can find out, and that is at 1 atmosphere and 25 degrees Celsius. This is what the for P. Now, the next thing that comes is the heat recovered in boiler. To calculate heat recovered in boiler, heat recovered in boiler. What will be the heat recovered in boiler? Very simple, that is heat input to boiler, heat input to boiler minus heat out from boiler, right. That is what the heat that is stored in the boiler. Heat is being input at 1327 Kelvin, of which 15% is lost. So, only 85% is recovered. So, and heat output from boiler, that is heat taken by POC after exiting from the boiler, that is at 320 degrees Celsius. The amount remains the same, the amount is not being utilized anywhere, only heat is being extracted. So, amount is the same, all the temperature is different. You can calculate heat output from the boiler from the sensible heat value which I have given to you. Heat input to the boiler you already calculated, and then 85% you take it. So, this value heat recovered in the boiler, that will come 3928 kilocalorie per kg of fuel, right. Now, just for information, fraction of CV recovered, because we are always interested, all these heat to POC, heat recovered, they are all a fraction of the calorific value of the fuel, because the source of thermal energy is the calorific value of the fuel. So, it is always, to know what fraction you are able to recover, that is the important thing. So, well, fraction of calorific value of coal that is recovered, that is equal to 0.42. Simply divide 3928 by the calorific value of fuel and you get this value. So, this is how in short for problem number 2. Now, let me see another problem. Now, this problem I have given in case you are working on the shop floor for a long time on the furnaces, and all of a sudden your management has come and has asked you that look, this is the heat balance for which you are operating for very long years. I have gotten an idea that I can save the fuel, because I have heard if I recover the heat from the flue gases, I can save the fuel, that means I can reduce the fuel consumption. So, my dear engineer, you are being here, a very simple problem is there. Can you convince me whether by installing a preheater, what advantage I am going to get in my company? So, here is the problem. He has simply given to you heat balance of a continuous furnace. He has told you that heat input solely from combustion of the fuel, that is 100% of the fuel, that is all 100% of the total heat is being supplied by combustion of the fuel. Now, heat output, again it is given percentage of total. Remember, the process requirement is 25% of the total, sensible heat in flue gases is 50%, heat loss 25%. Now, he tells you that I am considering installation of a preheater. What is given to you is that preheater would be able to recover 50% of the sensible heat of flue gas, and all that 50% you recovered, it would be available to you in the form of combustion air. That means 50% of the heat preheater will recover, and the same 50% will be given to the air for preheating. Under this condition, you let me know what will be the percent saving in fuel through preheater installation when the process requirement and daily heat loss are kept same. I think you understood the problem. He is very clear in his mind. I want to know from you, if I install a preheater, because that involves a huge amount of investment, what percent saving in fuel I will get if the process requirement and daily heat loss are same. This is his query number 1. Now, his query number 2, if the daily fuel consumption and heat loss are same, now here is slightly different. He is telling if the daily fuel consumption and heat loss are same, what percent increase could be made in heat furnished due to installation of preheater. There are two things. I install a preheater, naturally I will cut down the fuel requirement. I install a preheater, I do not cut down the fuel requirement, then there will be excess heat in the furnace. What percent increase in the heat I will be getting it. So, take out your pen and pencil and notebook and convince your management that look sir, if you install a preheater, that much amount of fuel you are going to save. If you do not want to save the fuel, then you can increase the efficiency of the furnace, and here since you are using for melting, you can tell him, sir, if you do not cut down your fuel, you will be increasing the efficiency of the furnace, that is more output will be there, more money will come into your pocket. So, that is what you have to tell him. Now, I will just give you the hint. If suppose in A you are having what A is telling, the process requirement and daily heat loss are the same, what percent saving in fuel will be achieved? That means, now the fuel will not be 100%, fuel will be some x percent, because you are saving the fuel. So, if x is now my percentage fuel through which I am supplying the heat, of x, x by 2 will go in the flue gas, right, because in the beginning 100%, 50% was going into flue gas. Now, x is the renewed fuel consumption, x by 2 will enter into the flue gas, out of x by 2 half will be recovered. So, I will be recovering x by 4. Okay. So, now my heat balance would be input x due to fuel plus x by 4, that is coming by the preheater installation, that will be equal to 50, because I have to keep the process requirement heat loss are same 25, 25, 50 plus x by 2 is the heat taken by the flue gas. Now, look, now what I have done, x is the percentage of fuel now you are required to burn of x, x by 2 will be carried by the flue gases, from x by 2 half you will recover. So, x by 4 will be recovered. So, heat balance x plus x by 4, 25 for the process requirement, 25 for the heat loss, that you have to keep same, plus x by 2, that is the flue gas. So, I get the value of x, very simple, 66.66%. So, the fuel saving now would be, now 33.34%. Look at how convincingly you can tell him that, well, you can save that much amount of fuel. Now, the part B, I leave it to you to think it over and to do it, and the answer part B will come, that you can increase the efficiency. The answer for this, that is, you can increase the efficiency of preheating if you do not cut down the fuel requirement to 100%. So, try to get this answer and feel happy that you have gotten the answer and you understood the problem.